tremendous weapon a year ago. You look at the tight ends they had, C.J. Uzomah, Tyler Conklin. They even draft Jeremy Ruckert, which I think we're just excited about because he's a Long Island guy. And he grew up as a Jet fan, and he seems like more of a project, more of a blocking tight end. Fine, whatever. And then you go out, and this one excited me. They go out and trade up and get Breece Hall. And I'll tell you why this excites me. Even though we all went nuts a few years ago about you can't draft a running back at number 2 in Saquon Barkley, what's happened over the last 5 years is that all these incredibly talented running backs are still talented. They're still really good, but they're not viewed the same way. They're not viewed as guys that should be taken in the first round. It's frowned upon if you take a running back in the first round. That doesn't mean you shouldn't take a running back. That doesn't mean that Breece Hall, who maybe 7 years ago, is a top 10 pick. That's not crazy to say, right? The NFL has changed. You know, Kim made a great point to me the other night when I was giving the whole, if Gardner's too good, we're not going to pay him because we don't pay corners. And Kim's like, well, you know what? The NFL's a little different than it was 13 years ago when people said you can't pay Revis. She's right. And the NFL's different in how we view running backs. It doesn't mean they aren't good. It just means guys aren't being selected in the first round. But when you can go out and draft the best running back on the board, here's what I'm dreaming about. And maybe this is unrealistic. Maybe Breece Hall doesn't turn out to be this. But when you're the first running back taken, I'm thinking of Jonathan Taylor. I'm thinking of maybe the New York Jets, who now moved Michael Carter back a little bit, where he's more of a 10-touch-a-night kind of guy. Maybe the New York Jets, who have not had a bell cow running back or an elite level running back or a 1,000-yard rusher, however you want to define it, in a long time. They got a good year out of Chris Ivory, a couple of good years out of Thomas Jones. They have not exactly lit it up over the last half a decade. And now you walk away with a kid with the potential to be that guy. And so here's what it comes down to for Zachariah Wilson. There are no excuses. We are going to know, and we are going to know quick, who you are. We're going to know. And here's the other thing. I remember a year ago, because the roles are now reversed. A year ago, we went into the football season with expectations for the New York Giants. The New York Giants, I remember saying it, they got to make the playoffs. If they don't make the playoffs in the third year of Daniel Jones, in the second year of Joe Judge, after a big offseason in which you had Kenny Golladay, with Saquon coming off an injury, if you don't make the playoffs, this is a disaster. Well, they didn't. They were a disaster, and look what happened. They blew the whole thing up. The New York Jets come into next year with expectations. And I'll lay it out for you right now. They have to win 8 or 9 games. And if they don't, next year's a disappointment. Now, you can tell me about the Patriots and the Dolphins and the Bills and how good the AFC East is. You can tell me that until you're blue in the face. You can tell me about all the quarterbacks in the AFC. Oh, look at all the quarterbacks. Look how difficult the schedule is. Give me a freaking break. They went out. They have been aggressive in free agency. They've been aggressive in this draft, using 3 first-round picks for the first time since 2000. This is the second year of Robert Saleh, the second year of Zach Wilson. And you know how we should view the second year? The second year is time to win year. The second year isn't show me a little progress year. The second year is go out and win football games.
Why are you doing that?
So I'm excited. I'm not saying this in any kind of anger way. I'm pumped up. This is the first time I've got expectations for this franchise in a very long time. I'm even trying to think. Because every year I always write down how many wins I think the Jets are going to get. What are my expectations for the team? I don't know the last time I've had this high of an expectation for the Jets, which says a lot about the Jets. It says a lot about the franchise that I love, that some of you listening love. But what this has done with receivers like Davis and Wilson and Moore, and bringing it back Berrios, with an offensive line that should be improved with Laken Tomlinson at left guard and Veritucka moving to the right side, and potentially Mekhi Becton being healthy, by adding 2 tight ends in free agency, and Uzomah and Conklin, by drafting what could be the next star running back in Breece Hall. This means it's go time, Zach. That's what it means. We are going to know. If we're taking phone calls in December debating Zach Wilson, then there's no debate. So I'm excited. I mean, I say this as a warning, but that's the beauty of sports. You want to go in with expectations. You know, I'm still licking my wounds from the Nets, getting embarrassed, but You want expectations. I want my basketball team to be considered a title contender. I don't want to go in a season saying I hope I win 28 games. What's the fun of that? Now, you're going to walk away disappointed like I did about the Nets, but you want expectations. I'm sick and tired of going in a season saying, just show me competence. That's what I said last year. Just show me competence. No. No, we're past that now. We're past that now. Now you got to win. Time to win. So, yes, on paper, this feels like an awesome draft by Joe Douglas. It does. Look, it's easy to sell. They got the best corner in this draft, according to most. They got one of the best wide receivers in this draft. They got a steal in Jermaine Johnson at 26, who's considered one of the better edge pass rushers in this draft. They got the best running back in this draft. I'm hearing Adam Schefter say they had a grand slam. All the experts say the Jets did an amazing job. So I'm not going to deny that. Now, the truth is we have no idea. These guys have to go out and perform. But yeah, I'm pumped up. But now you got to win. The easy part is pumping up your fan base. The tough part is sustaining it. Let's get back to your calls. 877-337-6666. Chris in Orlando, Florida. Hi, Chris.
Hey, it's been a while, but always a pleasure. Always try to listen as much as I can during the afternoons when Craig is in. Hey, does Craig push buttons, or does he really believe his opinions that he argues with you and Big Mac? Before I get into my point,
I would say there's a combination. Yes.
I'd like to say, look,
I'd say 50-50, yes.
I'm trying to give Craig the benefit of the doubt, and I'm a big fan of yours and Joe's old show, so I mean, you both bring different people to the table, and that's why you're number one, but when he speaks, his brilliance would be as if he's really joking with the audience, and what he's saying out of his mouth would be not serious, but he's just trying to get a rattle out of you and Big Mac. But sometimes I really believe he believes what he's...
Oh, yes. Yeah, no, I think there are many times where he believes the crap that he says. No question about it. I think it's like a 60-40 range, but I should start writing it down and analyzing it further like I'm a psychiatrist.
But like I said, it's brilliant that you both bring different people to the table, and that's why you're number one. So a couple things, Evan. Another one-off question, I'll get to my next point. Do you have a problem with WWE calling Backlash now WrestleMania Backlash? Is something wrong with that name, is it?
Yeah, I think it's the dumbest name ever. I think they should just call it Backlash like they have for 24 years. I don't think you need to call it WrestleMania Backlash.
The number of WrestleManias, too. It's like
bro, that bothers me even more, to be honest with you. That would be like the Super Bowl no longer referring to the Super Bowl number. At some point, you say, what are you doing? So I agree, and also because WrestleMania feels as if it was 6 months ago. So why are you doing a callback to an event that was so long ago? So yes, I completely agree with you.
Yeah, for those that don't, most of the audience that don't watch wrestling like me and you, I mean, that is our Super Bowl for wrestling. So for them to take that number off, that's exactly a great point, Evan. But real quick, real quick, man, I had on that point, but let me just end it with this. Joe B, is he coming on to talk draft like he did last year on your Saturday show? Or if not, I know you're talking to him, and we would probably, most of us would love to hear.
I don't know if he's going to be able to come on today, but I know he'll come on eventually. I know that he was pumped up like all of us were about this draft. We differed, though. He did want to go offensive line towards the beginning of this draft. He did want to kind of push or replace Mekhi Becton. And I just didn't love doing that because I think this is a good offensive line. Even if Mekhi Becton is a bust, like let's say we are looking at the worst case scenario with Mekhi, this is still a pretty good offensive line because George Fant showed us last year when he plays left tackle, he's a pretty darn good left tackle. Elijah Vera-Tucker, I think, will have no problem switching to the right side. So he's an excellent right guard. Laken Tomlinson's very good at left guard. The center position isn't ideal. But this is a solid offensive line. I'm not telling you it's the best offensive line in football. You can always get better. And maybe later today, because they got a couple of picks early on in the fourth round. I've been trying to keep track with all the trades they made, but I think they're going 108 and 114 coming up in the fourth round, which is, they kind of spread around with the Giants. Actually, I think the fourth round pick went to the Giants, if I'm not mistaken, in that trade. Boy, I got to figure out which picks they have. It has been so confusing about these trades that are being made. Trader Joe's been active, that's for sure. But you can get offensive line depth at this part of the draft. And we've always said this. Everyone has said this, so this is not an original point. This is where the real GMs make their money. even though a lot of the names that are going to go starting at 12 are maybe not names we're familiar with, these are where the big-time franchises separate themselves. Eric in Miami. What's up, Eric?
What's going on, Evan? Love you, brother. We got 111 and 117 for the Jets today. I'm super hyped.
Very exciting. Yes, we'll see what they do, man, because this has been a very good start so far.
Brother, it's not James Morgan in the first round, you know. So I'm really happy on paper right now. Before I get to talking NL East with you, baseball, but as a Jets fan on paper, I'm loving it, brother. You know what I mean? Hey, it's a no-brainer. Why would you pay an older wide receiver? Yes, he's proven in the NFL, but you can get a guy cheaper, and he could be more talented than you get him for a
But he's got to be good. I get your point. If Garrett Wilson is 75% of Deebo Samuel, you're right. But if he's Devin Smith or he's Stephen Hill, then no, it's not worth it. So the only reason I'm leaning towards trading for the elite wide receivers because it's a sure thing. We don't truly know what Garrett Wilson's going to be at the next level. We don't.
We don't know, but we do know we had 3 first-round picks, which I didn't expect. I'm super hyped about that. And if you hit on one of the 3, it was a great draft, Evan, because it's the future. It's one of those guys is the future, and that's what we look for in the draft. Just one guy to turn our franchise around that's going to be the future. And we believe in Zach Wilson, and he's got the tools now. He's hyped up. He's young. He's energetic. He's calling his guys up. And I'm super hyped as a Jet fan, and the fan base should be just as well. Now, let's talk a little NL East. How about them Mets, man? They're looking good. They're not as soft as when I called Boomer and Gio the other day for taking all those hits, you know, and getting tossed around like a Caesar salad. But no, yeah, throwing little no-hitters, yeah, combined, real nice. You know, the Marlins have the best pitcher in baseball right now with a .38 ERA.
I know, Pablo Lopez, man. I know.
Why
Go ahead.
Why is it that we have to play in June 17th, till our WrestleMania goes down? Because, boy, this battle in the NL East, it's going to come down to the Marlins. Marlins pitching staff is just as good as yours.
I don't think you're crazy. I wrote down my predictions at the beginning of the year and I tweeted them out. And one of the things I got some criticism for was how high on the Marlins I am. Because of the pitching. And look, I don't think Pablo Lopez is going to maintain a 0.40 ERA. But Sandy Alcantara, we know how good he is. We know how good Trevor Rogers can be. He's off to more of a shaky start. Jesus Luzardo has a huge upside. Like, their pitching has a chance to be really, really good. I think where you guys missed out, and what I think may be the difference between the Marlins and the Mets and the Marlins and the Braves, is that lineup doesn't scare me. And if you guys would have gone out and been more aggressive this offseason and added Nick Castellanos, and I know they added Jorge Soler, who's all right, but he's not Nicholas Castellanos. If you went out and added another bat or two, I think they'd be even more dangerous. But pitching-wise, they are very, very good. They are very, very dangerous. I tweeted this the other night. I can't believe that the Miami Marlins got Pablo Lopez for David Phelps. You talk about an underrated, real good trade. That's one right there. But I think they're legit. I think they're going to hang around. I think they're going to hang around because they can pitch. And as far as the schedule is concerned, it's very, very strange. What he was alluding to is that the Marlins don't play the Mets until the middle of June, yet the Mets and Phillies will have played 9 times by the end of next weekend. So I don't know how they figure this. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. You'd like it to be more evenly distributed. But for whatever reason, there's a lot of Mets-Phillies. There's not a lot of Mets-Marlins. But I think the Marlins are dangerous. In a lot of ways, the Marlins scare me more than the Phillies. Now, the Phillies have a lot of big bats that on paper will scare you. But they've also got a lot of guys that strike out a million times, that go through massive slumps. And look, the obvious is they also are a horrendous defensive team. Horrendous. I like the Met pitching against the Philly bats. I do. A lot of long swings in that lineup. A lot of guys that you can pitch to. I don't know. They just don't scare me. The Marlins in a lot of ways do because they can pitch. They can pitch. And these are young guys on the rise in this Marlins rotation. And look, the other team that I will not discount, because I still think they're the team to beat in this division, is obviously the Atlanta Braves. And despite the slow start, despite being a game under 500, they do have a Acuna